Hello and welcome to MCN and welcome to this. It is Kawasaki's brand new ZX-4RR. Now, Nizi has barely got off the plane from the launch in Spain, which was strictly on track, and we managed to get our hands on one of the first ones in the UK. Now, we wanted to do a proper road test on it as he only tested it on track, and instead of just doing it on its own, we managed to clamber in two of its closest competitors. We've got Yamaha's R7 in that beautiful 60th anniversary colour scheme, and we also have another inline four in Honda's CBR650R. Now, you're definitely going to be watching this and thinking, well, where's the Aprilia? Where's this? Where's that? Especially the RS660, which won our group test in Sicily last year. But this is just a taster of what we have to come. So next year, there's going to be a couple of new bikes in this sector. It is going to be super crowded and it's going to be super competitive. We're going to be doing a big road and track test next year, so keep your eyes peeled for that because it is going to be incredible. But for now, this is our first impressions on the road. We've had 2 days, and I have to say, it has been epic. So now, there are probably two types of people that are most likely to buy these types of bikes. You're gonna have your new riders jumping up from your A1, your A2 bikes that wanna have their first taste of a proper supersport bike, of proper power, proper torque, proper componentry. And then you've also got your older riders, you know, the ones stepping down from your big uncomfortable superbikes, you know, your ZX-10s, your S1000RRs. They want something a bit calmer, a bit cheaper and a bit easier to ride. And to be honest, out of the three of them, nothing is cheaper, nothing is calmer and nothing is easier than Honda's CBR650R. Now, I know it's got a big CBR logo attached to the front of it and it looks a bit like a Fireblade at the front end. It doesn't actually feel like one at all. It's more like a sports tourer in the way it's set up. So the tank is quite big, the seat's quite far back and quite low down, and the bars are really, really high up. So it's almost like a sports touring position. It's the one that gives you the most room and is the most comfortable, and it's also the most frugal as well. So it actually has the best miles per gallon of all three of these bikes, even though, to be honest, all three of them were under 40 miles per gallon. But if you're gonna buy a supersport bike, it depends. If you want something that you're going to be comfortable on, that you want to pop to the shops on, that you know you want to just have a little roll around on, or if you want something that's super exciting, that Honda just didn't get our juices flowing. So it was the bike that none of us really wanted to ride, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One of them is because it is so comfortable, the riding position just isn't as engaging. You feel a bit disconnected from the front end. Now it's got non-adjustable shower forks, and they don't give a great amount of feeling, especially over bumpy, horrible UK tarmac. The brakes, they're ample enough to do the job, but the ABS is incredibly, incredibly intrusive. So it's not exactly fitted to, you know, really fast flowing Sunday rides. And the same goes for the engine. To be honest, I'd talk about the engine first on the other bikes, but on this, it's actually quite a forgettable thing, which is a real shame. It's a nice motor that has a really wide range of use. You know, it does everything well. The gearbox always goes into gear. It always manages to execute what you ask of it, but it never does any more than that. As a road bike, it is a cracking road bike. It's comfortable, it's the best on fuel, it's the cheapest, but it doesn't quite get your juices flowing in the category of supersport. It's more sort of on the touring end, like a sports tourer, almost like in the same vein as how you look at a GSX-S 1000 GT or a Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX. It's almost in that category. That's how unsporty like it is. If you want something that is sporty, that will get your juices flowing, you need to come with me. You need to come and have a look at the Yamaha R7. Now, you've all seen the reviews of Yamaha's R7. It's been out for a couple of years now. I did the launch of it, I absolutely loved it. Nizi and Dan absolutely loved it on the road last year as well. Now, as you know, it's heavily based on Yamaha's incredible MT-07 package with a plethora of changes, such as a bit of chassis bracing, you know, a bit of geometry, a bit of suspension changes. And these little details make it an incredible supersport bike. You wouldn't think that something as soft and as bouncy and as forgiving as an MT-07 would be a real agile, focused machine, but Yamaha have somehow pulled it out the bag, and this thing on UK roads is an absolute blast. Now, completely opposite to the Honda, this feels like an R6. It feels like a new school supersport bike, as in you sit on top of it, you don't sit in it, you sit over the bars. As you can see, the clip-ons are really low, the bars are right down, so it means your arse is up and all your weight is on your wrists. What that means in turn is you get so much feeling through that front end. It is incredible. It feels like you're actually on a race bike. But the beauty of the suspension setup is, although it's tough, when you're riding it hard, it really performs well and it gives you so much feedback and it can absorb bumps and horrible surfaces. In all honesty, it's pretty much the polar opposite to the CBR. All of us really enjoy riding this. It's not going to be comfortable, you're not going to go touring on it, but as a sports bike that's built to attack corners, that's built to bring joy to your ride, the R7 ticks a lot of the right boxes. But one of the big boxes that it misses out on is that excitement at the very top, when you really got that throttle twisted, when you want that little bit more from the engine, and that is exactly what Kawasaki have delivered with their ZX-4RR. Now, before I start banging on about how much I absolutely love this motor, there are a few negatives to this bike. Well, it's almost 9 grand for a 400. I'd love to see some fully adjustable forks. I'd love to see some slightly high spec tyres. It's the little things like that that really should finish this bike off and really should pay tribute to those proper factory spec original 400s. Now, we've had enough of the negatives. Let's get on to what makes this bike so good. So, when we were talking about riding position, what made the Honda so good was how comfortable it was. And what it struggled with was giving that feel. The R7 was the complete opposite. It gave you loads of feel, but my God, if you spent a day in the saddle of that, you'd be feeling it. This thing sort of sits as a halfway house. Although it's got the slightly higher bars, the slightly lower seat, you feel integrated into it. You really get a feel for that front end. And yet, after a full day of riding, it isn't back-breaking. It's actually really impressive how Kawasaki have managed to offer so much space in a 400cc package. If you're a new rider, it's not intimidating, and if you're an older rider, it's definitely sporty enough for you to get that feel and that sort of precision that you want. And that precision is exactly what this bike offers. And that front end is absolutely sublime. The way it picks up an apex is something that most supersport bikes could only dream of. It turns in so tight. When you're following either the Honda or the Yamaha, especially the Honda, you have to almost pick it up mid-corner. It is that precise and it turns that tight. But with that agility, with that light turning circle, you do lose quite a bit in stability. So if you're a newer rider, it will be a bit twitchier than say your Ninja 400s or your R3s, just because it's that bit more precise. But the real jewel in this bike comes in the form of that 399cc inline 4 motor. Now, I've always grown up watching supersport bikes. I've always loved that screaming sound of an inline 4 pulling off the limiter. And this thing revs to 16,000 RPM. It sounds incredible, but it's not just about the sound, it's about the way it makes you feel when you ride it. Now, I was really worried that it would be horribly gutless. It doesn't even make 30 foot-pound of torque. Because that top end is so enticing, you almost forget about that. It makes bugger all under 8,000 RPM. Anything under 8,000, you might as well give up and go home. But when you're above that sweet spot, it picks up with the ferocity of a 600. I know you're not going as quick, but the actual riding experience is exactly the same. It's absolutely bonkers. Like, it does 56 mile an hour in first gear. Now, these would struggle to do that in second and maybe even third, just to put that into perspective. If you're a beginner rider, you want something that's going to be truly exciting, that you can really build your skills on, that you can hone your riding on, that will get you excited. This thing is absolutely incredible, and it's severely addictive as well. Yet, if you're used to a big screaming 1,000, it gives you that similar feeling, that similar immersion of being involved in the bike, of the sound, the vibration, everything. But you're not at silly license losing speeds. It's almost like the best of both worlds. It makes you wish that there was more of them about. What Kawasaki have done here is incredible. Forget the spec sheet, forget how small the engine is. If you want something that's an incredible riding experience, that feels like a proper supersport bike, this is a bike you can ride all day, like the Honda. It has almost that level of comfort. It's a bike that you can ride just as hard as the R7. It has that incredible handling ability. But what it brings to the table is an engine that is full of character and is seriously exciting. I was really expecting to like this bike, but my God, I absolutely love it. Top marks, Kawasaki.